Welcome in, Monday edition, Blue Sky Live here with you this morning. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio. Ole Miss getting into another week of preseason camp. I guess from a camp standpoint, probably kind of the last week of camp before they start transitioning a little bit.
It is the last week of camp.
Yeah, here you go. We are 19 days away from the season opener against the Furman Paladins at Vaught Hemingway Stadium. Middle Tennessee, trip to Wake Forest, and Georgia Southern finish out the non-conference portion of the schedule. So we'll talk some about Neal's 10 thoughts, which are up on the site at rebelgrove.com. Best case, worst case for 2024. It's a thought exercise he does every single year, so we'll talk about that
Did
a
it
little
this
bit.
week because I had nothing else to write.
There you go. That's fine.
Just to be totally frank, just had nothing else. So I said, well, let's break that out a week or two early.
Do some further football talk. Put a story up on Jackson Dart this morning about how one particular area of the field has been the reason for his emergence, or one of the reasons for his emergence. You can read that at Rebel Grove. We'll probably talk about that a little bit as well. Yes, I see Big Ben talking about the stream. The Olympics wrapped up last night or yesterday with the closing ceremonies. On to L.A. now. See, Tom Cruise jumped off the top of the stadium to signify we're moving to L.A. So Cruise,
he survived.
Apparently, yeah.
Oh.
Well, I mean, we're getting a Top Gun 3, so he's got to survive.
Oh.
I mean, you can't. Whoa, hold on a minute. We got cinematic masterpieces coming. We can't let our mascot be in trouble here.
I like the Family Guy with Tom Cruise. It's one of my favorite ones. Might be my favorite Tom Cruise.
Is it really?
Family Guy, Tom
Really?
Cruise, yeah.
Yeah, he was in Paris pretty much the whole time, and then jumped off yesterday.
I saw where he won
the flag.
He won a soccer gold medal. It was awesome. It was really cool.
What are you talking about?
The women's soccer gold medal match, like every 10 seconds they showed Tom Cruise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He apparently had the game winner.
Oh, okay.
Some people said it was Mallory Swanson with the game winner, but I think it was Tom Cruise.
He has he shifted into an era that's not crazy Scientologist that jumped on Oprah's couch?
Oh, maybe it was South Park Tom Cruise, or maybe it was both. One or the other.
He's been in multiple animated sitcoms, or not sitcoms, but TV series.
I wish Carson were here because Carson is a Family Guy expert. He's been in one or the other. He might have been in both.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Family Guy it never even crossed my.
Get out of my face.
I'm serious.
Just leave me alone.
Never even.
Stop talking to me.
Nothing. I mean, is it like one of your top 5 shows?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, Tom Cruise, Family Guy, season 17, episode 4.
Okay.
Plays Sean Kennan, Tiny Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I believe that's correct.
I think that's right. I mean, I assume it is right. Yeah, it's just fun. I can envision it, and it makes me laugh.
Sean Kennan is an American actor known for his work in The Smurfs, Escape from Planet Earth, and on paper, Sean provides assorted voices, including Tiny Tom Cruise and Usher in The Peanut Butter Kid.
Oh. Yeah, Family Guy's probably the show Carson and I like to watch together the most.
It's been for a long time. I mean, you've mentioned that for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. We'll go on our trips, and we'll find. Sometimes he'll pack his Apple thing, and we'll watch Family Guy for hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, we both just love it.
Okay. So that's kind of the setup.
It's sort of my speed.
Okay. That's sort of the setup for today. We'll get out of that in a second. First, tell you about BlueSky locations throughout Mississippi, up and down I-55, throughout North Mississippi as well, here locally in Oxford. Got the lunch specials, $5.69, couple sides, bread, any size fountain drink. Might as well get the large one because they're all the same size. All the same price. So go ahead and get the big one there with your lunch special. Sweet Daddy's locations all over the state of Mississippi, ribs, pulled pork, side items, desserts, and more. Got a lot going on here, so let them take care of dinner. Again, you can call ahead. They'll wrap it up, have it ready to go, wet or dry ribs, whatever your preference is, there with the Oxford Exxon. Again, come to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark, as Corey was telling you on Thursday night if you were listening to Hand Raise Guys. Now's a pretty good time to buy a vehicle, so just get in touch with him. Tell him what you're looking for, and you can usually get something happening pretty quick. Don't forget to check out their Facebook page. Larry Clark Ford, Larry Clark Chevrolet, all of that. 662-257-1900. Guests will join this week on the Campbell Clinic Hotline. From fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions, the pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized pediatric orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. So visit campbellclinicoxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111.
I'm not going to say it wasn't a false fall, but we did get a reprieve for about 48 hours temperature wise. Like it's been all right here the last 2-3 days.
In the mornings. Yeah.
Really good in the mornings.
Yeah, Saturday morning was awesome. I'd made up my mind that I was doing my first 1 hour run on Saturday, and was Mother Nature cooperated quite a bit. It was actually spectacular. And it was a little hotter that day. It wasn't the people that are like, it's fall. I'm like, no, it's still summer. But
100%. Yeah.
But it was, the mornings were nice, and we're starting to get to the place. Not there yet. Still another month. But we're starting to get to that place where the evenings get pleasant.
Even last night was good. Like kind of was out a little bit and whatever, and thought it's good porch weather, good walk weather, good get kind of thing.
Yeah. You got to wait till 7.
4:30 still hot, guys.
Yeah. 4:30, 5:30 still really hot outside.
You have a knee? You good?
Yeah, knee's good.
You made it?
Yeah, knee's good. Okay. I did I have to make sure that I don't compare myself with the 17-year-old living in my house.
Well, duh.
Because he runs 7-minute miles.
Well,
and he gets out and runs.
Under what expectation would you be in that category?
You've never lived a day inside my head, so you don't know what that's like. Yeah.
Logic would
I have
suggest.
I have severe mental issues as it pertains to that.
Okay.
And then he walks around without a shirt on, and I'm like, dude, I can't find enough hoodies to put on at that point. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'd like to look like that just for like 5 minutes of my life, just to see.
You have always said you do not blame DK Metcalf and AJ Brown for 1 second when they have the pictures and all the stuff.
No.
Hey, no, the shortest shorts you can find, the no t-shirt, the whole deal.
I'll be honest. I admire DK Metcalf quite a bit.
Yeah.
For wearing clothes ever. I would not be clothed.
Whatever the bare minimum is for societal purposes. Would be
a jock strap.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd pretty much, that'd be it. That'd probably be creepy at some point, but
probably.
You know what?
Probably be creepy. Yeah.
But I wouldn't blame him.
Okay.
I'd be like, yeah, I get it. People would be like, can you believe? I'd be like, yeah, I totally believe it. I can see that.
Getting into football in a minute. I know you didn't watch really much Olympics at all, I don't think, for the most part. But this gymnastics thing has kind of taken, you seen this? Kind of separated sides on what people think. Have you watched this at all?
The one that had
Jordan Childs getting her medal stripped.
I'm familiar with the story a little bit. I haven't really dove into it. She won the bronze and they took it away because there was a protest 4 seconds too late.
Correct. Yeah.
And you know where I'm going to fall on this.
So, in general, the IOC and all the governance, they typically do the wrong thing no matter what. It's just kind of what they've always done. Yes, for a background for anyone that's been to Iraq, the Romanian gymnast finished her routine. She was in third. Childs finished her routine, was in fifth as soon as it was ended. Then there was an inquiry into the routine. She did not get credit for one of the skills or stunts or whatnot that she did. She had points put back on. At that point, it moved her to third place. She got a bronze medal. We all moved on with our days. Days later or whenever, I don't know, there was a Romanian inquiry into the time limit or to the protest that the Americans did to get Child's score changed. The IOC, I guess, whoever the committee is, gymnastics people, I'm not even really sure, whoever it is, whoever the governing body is, they are saying that they have evidence that it was 4 seconds too late. The United States Gymnastics Committee, team, association, whatnot, has come back and said they have evidence that they asked for the inquiry 47 seconds after the thing ended and 55 seconds after it ended. And now we wait. She has been, we don't really wait. She has been stripped of her bronze medal. What is odd to me is if you're having doubts, just give them both the damn bronze and let's move on with our day, because that there is a precedent for that. There have been times where medals have been shared and it was the fault of neither gymnast at this point. So just give them both bronze and move on.
The fact that the U.S. committee people, team people, whatever their title is,
I don't know.
can show receipts basically from 47 seconds and 55 seconds tells me that they're in the right. That this was obviously another motivation.
It's
the problem with everything these days, man. I mean, it's why people go, don't be political. But the Olympics are political. The Olympics were riddled by politics. And this is political.
how so?
I don't know. I don't feel like getting into it.
I don't think it was. I mean,
I think
because to argue that, you would argue that the Olympics wanted a Romanian up there, which I don't. I mean, why?
I don't know.
think that's.
I think I just think it's all gotten where there's all these agendas constantly. It's being, I mean, anything that's being, it's why I kind of like the races where they run. Or you keep score. Or a ball has to go through a basket. Or a ball has to go into a net. Anything that's...
Yeah, there are democratic sports where you just go, hey.
Anything that's judged these days, I'm sort of cynical.
Well, because that's where it initially started, was a human error on scoring. That's how we got here to begin with, was an error on the scores.
Right.
That they then...
But they fixed it.
Yeah.
She did the routine. They missed it. The human missed it.
Yeah, which is whatever.
They went back. It happens. Went back and fixed it. And then they keep going. Like you said, give them both a...
I would give them both bronze.
Like it's why, again, it's what I was
do.
watching the high jump the other day. The McEwen kid.
Sydney McEwen.
From Oxford.
Yeah.
We got the silver. It was in a jump off.
Yeah.
I was cheering for Sydney, obviously.
Sure.
But you either get over the bar or you don't.
And they chose not to share. They chose to jump it off.
They did. They chose, and so it's fine.
Yeah. In 21, in that same competition, they shared the gold medal.
Yeah. So but you know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing to judge. The bar either stays there or the bar falls off.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that. Steph Curry makes those shots somehow, some way, but you see the ball go through the net, 3 points.
I will be curious to see if there's even another action here after whatever the U.S. has presented with the video stuff. Probably I think we're in full agreement outside of one thing. I do think the timing of the inquiry matters, because while it's arbitrary, you have to set some semblance of a rule on how soon after it happens. So had she missed by 4 seconds, I actually would have been fine with taking the inquiry away. I probably am the minority there, and I understand that. That's fine. But I do like, when you stop worrying about the exact thing, where's the cutoff? Like 10 minutes later.
So what does she got to do? She got to box up her medal and send it back to Paris?
That's a good question.
What if she just says, I'm keeping it?
Yeah, Shelby. Sorry, not Sydney. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I have no clue how that.
I mean, like, whatever.
Yeah, do they bring somebody in?
The Stasi come take it away? How's that work?
I don't know. Unclear. I don't know. Kind of fascinating though. The men's basketball gold medal game, U.S. and France, 76% increase in viewership over 3 years ago.
Yeah,
most since '96. More competitive game. Also, time zone weekend. A lot of the Olympics stuff as far as ratings, you have to consider that it was a time zone benefit versus Tokyo 3 years ago in a lot of ways.
Sure.
However, in saying that, all in all, after the opening ceremonies, NBC did a hell of a job. Like, they've done really well with this Olympics from a coverage standpoint and a broadcast standpoint. I mean, I think they're going to see ratings from that.
I mean, the basketball had the American legends, basically, LeBron and Steph and KD, against this 20-year-old kid from France who is special. And people watched.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the semifinals were great. I mean, Serbia damn near beat the U.S. The German team was good. The Canadian team was good. If you watch the NBA, you already knew this. International basketball's never been better. It's not just the Americans. The days of the American team lining up and beating everybody by 50 points, that's over. It's never happening again. And I'm not a never person, but that's never happening again. International basketball's never been better. I think you can trace that back to the 92 Dream Team and the way that they
Change the whole deal.
captured the imagination of the whole world. And there are just a tremendous number of European basketball players that are elite NBA players. And that is it's the international game is fun. And Wembanyama's at some point in his life will probably get a gold medal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, GJG, I think I agree. He says Peacock did as good of a job covering the Olympics as anyone has ever covered sports. And I think that's probably true. They took the best elements of red zone and multi-views and all these things and turned it into a really easy to navigate, pleasurable app for 2.5 weeks. They did a really, really good job with that. I saw a lot of stuff on it, and I know we kind of had fun a little bit with Jeffrey on Thursday, but in 4 years, no Bron, Curry, KD, right?
I mean, probably not, but
so the face of the team potentially is Edwards.
I mean, I was watching that was like 2016 Thunder Warriors PTSD watching some of those shots fall on Saturday afternoon. I mean, Steph is amazing. If you told me that Steph Curry's still making those shots in 4 years, I believe it. I mean, he's an incredible player. And LeBron's an incredible player. I mean, and Kevin Durant might be the best international player ever.
Oh.
I mean, he's got 4 gold medals. Nobody else has 4 gold medals. We judge everything else by titles. Well, he's got a bunch of them, but he's an absolute killer on the international game where he can play. That style fits him so incredibly well. And LeBron's a beast, man. I mean, LeBron's 40 years old out there just making plays, willing his team to make plays. And the part that Bron doesn't get enough credit for, because people always talk about LeBron being this and LeBron being that. In that setting, he is a team player. He is willing to be a role player in that setting. So what you saw in the final few minutes was they were going to move. There was one possession where the French really defended Steph well. They really defended him well. They were determined to take him away. And the ball moved and moved and moved and moved and finally got an open Steph, one step, shoot. And there was no doubt it was going in. I mean, it was just like, but that was remarkably good basketball.
That's a good question. Buy or sell John Morant on the team in 28? Tell me what's going on with that cat.
Yeah, I mean,
who knows?
Based on just what he's done, I'd have to sell.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong, but I'd have to sell. I haven't seen him being personally committed in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to decide he's different. There's a lot of really good young American players coming up. I mean, Chet Holmgren will be on that team in 2028. I think Jalen Williams will be on that team in 2028. Anthony Edwards, probably Cooper Flagg.
28?
Oh, he's a stud.
Really?
There's some really good young players coming up.
Okay.
American players.
You'd buy Flagg in 28?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit, he dominated some practices this year. He'll be a 3-year NBA vet.
Yeah. I read earlier baseball, softball coming back, flag football for the first time. I have no idea how you're picking. Don't know. And squash, apparently. I think there's a 5th one, too, but I missed what that one was.
And boxing's going away.
That was my interpretation. I think I saw that somewhere. Yeah, I think I saw boxing's out in 28. Again, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, boxing is not currently on the program for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. Said the sport must find a suitable new governing body, likely by early 25, to be restored to the lineup for the games. This decision was made, I guess, a couple years ago, but yeah, that's the way I'm interpreting it. So, I don't know what else has gone because this stuff like this happens. I think breakdancing was only the one time this year. It's not there in 4 years.
Did you see the lady from Australia?
So I did. She got swept or whatever, shut out in all of her matches. Said she expected that.
Yeah, I would hope so.
How did she get there to begin with? Do we know the answer to this?
These are life's mysteries, man.
Okay. They had a spot where that country could send someone, so they went, hey, what the hell?
memes on TikTok where they copied her dancing were awesome. I mean, they were hilarious. Bless her heart.
BWL, and we'll move on to football in a second. He's explained the difference in style of play, FIBA versus NBA.
The lane's different. The shot blocking is different, so the game's not played.
There's no 3-second rule.
Right. The game ends up not being played at the rim as much. It's more conducive to shooting and ball movement, and the Europeans are so good at it. But Kevin Durant's just a stone cold killer as a shooter. When he plays on a team that people can drive and kick to him, he's sick. He becomes this 6'11", basically shooting guard.
Yeah.
No one can guard him.
You can't guard that.
And he can produce off the dribble.
And Curry needs like an eyelash to be open. And
it's hard for me to say this because he's broken my heart. I don't think we have appreciated how great he has been.
There's truth to that. Relative overshadowing.
Well, because he played in the same era at first with Kobe, and then now with LeBron, and he won titles with Clay, and then he won titles with KD, and I don't think we give enough credit to his greatness.
Yeah, how about that?
I mean, if he didn't exist, or if he were just a normal player, I mean, the whole landscape of the current NBA would be different.
Yeah. So
literally no player, because he got injured and then he signed a less than max deal. Probably no player has impacted the NBA over the last 10 years more than Steph Curry. And he was phenomenal on Saturday. That was an absolute masterclass. It was a moment that people will probably remember for a long time.
Yeah, because I watched kind of half of the second half of the women's soccer final and then kind of stayed around and watched almost all the men's basketball game at that point. I had these numbers mixed up. Overall Olympic coverage up 76% over 3 years ago. Men's basketball, most since 96, but 19.5 million viewers. That's what the number was on that for the men's basketball final against France. So we'll move to football in a second. First, tell you about Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. They got all the different flavors for you, including their soy ginger option. That's their most recent offering that they have available. It's great with hibachi, great with other proteins, rice, veggies, and plenty more. New style barbecue is their best seller. Signature is one of my favorite. It's a great all-purpose seasoning blend there with you with Prime Shrimp. We're going to make it easy for you. We're going to make it a little cheaper for you. Buy 5 pouches or more. You get 25% off when you do that. Use code RG, primeshrimp.com. Again, a lot of stuff going on. Plenty of ways to let them help you throughout your day, lunch, dinner, quick protein snack, and much more. Shipped directly to your door. Fewer than 10 minutes, freezer to plate. Again, that's code RG with primeshrimp.com.
We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great people, products, and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, South Haven, that area, call Southern 662-429-4429. My post-game columns this season will be presented by Window Hero. From window cleaning to pressure washing, gutter cleaning, gutter guards, and everything in between, Window Hero has the experience, equipment, and expertise to make your property look and feel brand new. If you're in North Mississippi, let Window Hero make your home or business's exterior look amazing. Their experts are fully bonded and insured. Window Hero provides specialized equipment, exclusive cleaning solutions, a satisfaction guarantee, and they can clean up to 4 stories on buildings. Window Hero has locations in Oxford, Tupelo, Pontotoc, Holly Springs, New Albany, and more. Roby and Susan Allen are dedicated to helping Oxford and all of North Mississippi with their windows, gutters, and everything in between. So call Window Hero at 662-510-7077 to get an estimate or learn more at windowhero.com. We'll have football content to you later today. My content will be brought to you by Southern Q Sauce. Ole Miss grads Hunter and Mimi Simpson formed Southern Q Sauce Craft Barbecue Sauce. It is crafted by hand in small batches to capture that tangy, sweet, and smoky taste with just enough heat. The original recipe features the deep South flavors of apple cider vinegar, sweet brown sugar, tomato, and hickory. It's a blend of Tennessee, Mississippi, and the Carolinas with a sweet, smoky finish. Southern Q Sauce also has a variety of rubs from Old Faithful to Old Smoky, Honey Pecan, the Clucker, and the Longhorn. Whether you're a professional pitmaster or an occasional backyard chef, Southern Q Sauce has the sauces and rubs to have your friends and family coming back for more. So check it out for yourself. Go to southernqsauce.com. Use the discount code Rebel Grove for 15% off your order. 10 Weekend Thoughts are up. We'll probably talk about those in a minute. They're brought to you by Andrew Seago Wealth Management. Are you retiring soon? How long should you wait to take Social Security? What accounts should you pull from first? Are you already retired? Should you consider Roth conversions? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with a personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Seago Wealth Management specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. Whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere, schedule a free discovery meeting, see what they can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com. And we're brought to you by Grenada Home Center. They've got paints by Benjamin Moore, Pittsburgh Paint, and Farrell Calhoun. Flooring of any and all types, stone countertops, whether you're looking for granite, quartz, or anything else. And they've got window treatments from plantation shutters to whatever else suits your fancy. It's Grenada Home Center, 1301 Sunset Drive, Suite H in Grenada. Call them at 662-226-3127.
So, again, you do this every year. You do the best case, worst case for Ole Miss football, and then as typical, it usually falls somewhere in the middle for the most part. Did you go back and look? What'd you do last year? You had 11-1 as best, or 10-2?
I think I had 10-2 as best, and so they hit best case.
Oh, okay. Which,
yeah,
they
happens.
Did. Yeah.
I mean, best case means it's realistic. Of course, worst case means that's realistic too, and that's the part that people get a little antsy about. That's why I said deep breaths. Everything all right? Okay. So I did best case, worst case, and you can check it out at rebelgrove.com. I made it free this week. It's brought to you by Seago Wealth Management, as I said. On best case, so I sort of wavered a little. I said 11-1 was best case. I'm struggling with the Georgia game, to be honest with you, because I'm having a hard time taking last season's Georgia game and just disregarding it, throwing it away. It was in Athens. Obviously, this year it's in Oxford. Ole Miss should be better defensively than they were a year ago, especially up front. Last year, they were just manhandled off defensive line. Ole Miss should be a little better on the offensive line. There is no Quinshon Judkins this year. To me, that's a concern. I appear to be the only person around who covers Ole Miss or who talks about Ole Miss who thinks that's an area of concern. Everybody else sort of dismisses it. I'm having a hard time dismissing it. But I looked at that game. Georgia won by 5 touchdowns. Ole Miss never touched Carson Beck. Literally didn't touch him. And I just can't in my mind go, okay, a year later, Ole Miss wins that game. You feel free to disagree. It's a conversation. Here's the truth. Neither of us can be right for at least 3 months. So we'll see. And they'll play the game. And if I'm dead wrong and Ole Miss wins the game by 10 points, you can feel free to bombard my email box. I'm admitting out loud, I don't know. But that was best case. And best case at 11-1, like I said, is either going to put you in the SEC championship game, probably against Georgia, or you're going to be sitting as the number 5 national seed waiting for December 20th or 21st to play
Memphis or Liberty or whomever decides to come out of that.
In what would be the most exciting atmosphere at Vaught Hemingway Stadium since probably ever, is my guess.
Ever feels true.
I mean,
considering the stakes.
We have a lot of time to talk about it, but like 03 LSU, they could have gone to the SEC championship game, but they already had losses. Last year, LSU was so early in the season. It was a big deal, but
environmentally, it's 03 LSU or 14 Bama. But this is a different level
and
of
14
game.
Bama was October the 5th or 4th.
Yeah, 4th.
It was Carson's birthday, October 4th.
Was it really?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's October the 4th. I mean, it's too early to go, the season's, it's October the 4th. So that was best case. And then I struggled a little with worst case too, because I'm trying not to do this deal. And we're already at this point of camp where we're not seeing anything. Everything that we hear is basically positive. And so I think you have a tendency early in seasons to be too bullish on a team, and then middle of a season, you have a tendency to be too critical of a team because you've seen everything and you see the warts. You don't see them from 30,000 feet anymore. You see them from up close. So worst case for me was looking ahead to LSU in October and getting beat at South Carolina, losing to LSU, losing to Georgia, getting deflated at that point. Your season's done. The goals are out. They're off the table. You're not getting there at 9-3. Realistically,
that's the catch in this worst case is that we're not doing it on paper. We're doing it of, okay, now what are they mentally at that point? What does it look like?
At that point, I think they're super susceptible. I wrote this, that if you told me that they lost, let's say they lost to Kentucky or South Carolina, and then they lost to LSU, okay? If you told me that happened, I would tell you that they're really susceptible in Fayetteville, in Gainesville, because you're not going to be dialed in. It's over. And that's the part of this that people don't like to talk about, and I get it. It's why when people do the thing with us, like, you guys really need them to win, don't you? And I'm like, well, we just can't go there, because if I let myself go there, if you let yourself go there, and then they lose a couple of games, well, what are we doing in October? Well, these games don't matter anymore. We're not even going to cover them. Well, that won't be good for business. So you can't go there emotionally, mentally. You just can't. Fans can.
Yeah, sure.
But if you're inside that building and you've got 2 losses when you head back from Baton Rouge, you're realistically not getting to the playoff.
True.
Because now the path to the playoff is, okay, you got to beat Oklahoma. You got to beat Georgia. That loss to Kentucky/South Carolina's could really haunt you, because your 10-2 could look worse than this 10-2 and this 10-2. And guys, you got to beat Georgia, and Georgia looks like a rolling ball of butcher knives right now. I mean, it just didn't. You know what I mean? It just becomes tough. So at worst case, I started out at 8-4, and then I had 11-1 versus 8-4. And the more that I thought about it, the more I was like, well, I don't know, maybe 12-0 is on the table. But if 12-0 is on the table, 7-5 is on the table. And so it's where you and I talked about Vegas is really good.
9-5 is a great number. Not 9.5. 9 sorry, point, is a great number.
It's brilliant. Yeah. It's exactly right.
10's not right. 9's not right.
Because I think it's a 10-2 team.
Yeah,
that's what I think. I think it's a 10-2 team. And then if you told me I was off one, and this is where I'm probably not particularly popular, I think I'd lean 9-3 before I'd go 11-1. 11-1 is really, really, really performing at a super high level.
I mean, it's just it's winning everything you're supposed to win, and it's getting both of those prior to the Georgia game. Most likely, it's not playing on paper, obviously. But you know where I go, hey, they really could slip up in South Carolina, but then beat Georgia. Like, it's hard to just get there in your head that's how you're getting to 11-1.
And it happens, but it's not likely. The truth is, if they lose at South Carolina, that's probably a sign that something's off. Frankly. If they're going to, because I think they're going to open the AP poll comes out today. I put out if I had a ballot yesterday, and I had Ole Miss at 5. I think they'll open at 6.
Found out at 11 today.
Yeah. I could never be an AP voter. No. Too.
Well, you're going to put Ole Miss at 1. You're going to put Georgia at 23.
I'm not objective enough. And if we've seen anything in the last few weeks, it's the objectivity of the Associated Press.
I don't even really know if I understand their setup anymore compared to like a decade ago. The AP, like even how it
nationally,
yeah, like what even it looks like or anything else.
Well, they very clearly have lost layers of editorial.
Yeah, sure. And maybe you answered this when I had to take the phone call. Did this thought exercise? Was there a part of the team? Did it? What kind of came up in your mind that, hey, this is why I'm going to these things, or was it strictly results based off emotion and
just kind of? I looked at everything else too, like who they're playing, and because the other team's going through the other team that you're playing on a given day is also going through a mental exercise of their own season. And the part you can't predict, obviously, that will impact things is there will be injuries one way or the other.
Sure.
I mean, you could play South Carolina and their quarterback's out. You could play South Carolina and your quarterback's out. I mean, you don't know those things.
Yeah.
And so it's impossible.
And you can't factor injuries into this game because then it's stupid.
Well, that's what I always do it. Every team's going to be completely healthy, which is not going to happen, but that's the only way that you can try to do this.
Yeah. Because you don't go, oh, well, Nussmeier's going to be hurt when Ole Miss plays LSU. Well, duh. Okay,
I mean,
good. Sweet.
Yeah, you're an idiot at that point if you're trying to do that. But, I mean, look, I think the schedule's got some – I said this. I think the schedule has some landmines in it. And some of this is just from having covered the league as long as I have. I did say this, that I think Ole Miss, being an older team, a veteran team, an experienced team, I think they are incredibly well positioned to handle those landmines. But I do think those are true landmines. I do. I think 11 a.m. in Fayetteville, 11 a.m. in Gainesville are landmines. If you're not dialed in, you run the risk of kind of sleepwalking through a half.
And of those 5 games, I get Florida's record could be where it is, and maybe they've just quit at that point.
Sure.
But when you start ranking those 5 games on difficulty, I've got Florida 1. I think they're the most talented team of those 5 games.
I tend to agree.
Because they haven't won there since 2008. I think I have Arkansas too, because it's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know. No one knows about them, right?
And the Egg Bowl is the Egg Bowl and all that stuff, but they're not very good.
They're not very good. Kentucky's a good team.
Kentucky's a good team. It's at home and early. And if you lose that one, it's like, what are you doing?
They'll be dialed in for that one. I gave them the Kentucky win, both best and worst case.
And
everybody says South Carolina's going to be down. I don't know.
South Carolina,
it's a young quarterback.
Me, and I felt like this even prior to anything that's happened NFL-wise the last night or this weekend or whatever. There is a chance. Now, look, if Carolina's better, then they're better. There's a chance that Rattler covered up some Carolina issues that almost look like Masoli and Ole Miss a little bit, where you went, I don't know, he was better than you thought he was.
Sure. And if that's the case, that job's opening up.
Yeah, because it means they suck.
Because that means they'll really suck. Now, if you talk to people, how objective are these people? I don't know. They'll tell you that the young kid's really talented.
Yeah. Athletic and all that stuff.
Tons of skill. So I don't know.
Rattler looked pretty good in a little one preseason game right there for a minute.
Spencer was a good quarterback.
It's a great 5th round pick. It's a great 5th round pick.
Spencer Rattler paid a tremendous price for a documentary that was produced when he was in high school.
He did.
Because our field would not let it go. Because we do what we do. By God, we sink our teeth into a narrative, and that is that. That's what we do. Once we establish a narrative, that narrative is just established. By God, that's what we're going to stick with, and it drives me nuts. Things change. Sometimes what is true on Monday is no longer true on Wednesday. It doesn't mean it wasn't true on Monday, but we struggle with that. Our field does.
Speaking of thought processes, thought exercises, grind, what position must be a top 3 SEC unit for Ole Miss to reach their goals?
Defensive line.
And which unit can underachieve and they still reach their goals? That one's hard.
The first one's easy.
You think it's defensive line?
Yeah.
They have to be dominant.
Yes. To win at the top level of this league? Yeah. Yes, 100%.
And you're just going off line play in general, but yes. But it's covering up linebackers.
Right.
It's covering up defensive backs.
Here's a show we could do somewhere down the road. You're better at this stuff than I am. Go back through the last 10 national championship teams from the SEC and find one that wasn't great up front.
No, they're all are. Yeah.
When was the last team that was just kind of average up front defensively that won a title?
Because the least talented roster that has won a title out of what you're talking about over the last 15 years or so had 2 historically great players on it, which was that Auburn team that had Cam and Nick Fairley.
Yeah.
And Fairley disrupted so much stuff up front defensively that accounted for a lot of things.
Yeah. Now, look, Ole Miss went 10-2 last year with a kind of average defensive line. And I thought their linebacker play a year ago was average.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem with linebackers at Ole Miss underachieving is that their ceiling, I mean, like, we're not expecting a ton. So if you underachieve, do you suck? Because, frankly, I just think they're going to be average. I don't have them. I'm not doing this, oh, my God. No, they're just okay.
No, I mean,
there's no depth there that's played any snaps outside of Corey Coleman.
We're not seeing anything. So I'm almost amused at the people on our beat who are trying to make sweeping assertions about positions we just don't see.
We see zero team.
But there are some hints here and there that there's concern about linebacker. Mostly depth. You might make it through the season with 4 linebackers. I think there's some concern about cornerback depth. But again, now we're getting into an area where this is a new face of college football, and depth issues are a concern for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, LSU 2019 was not amazing defensively, but they were good. They were really skilled in the back end.
They were.
And they were so good offensively.
And then let's talk about their offense.
Yeah, that it just...
I mean, they had a all-pro quarterback. They had 2 all-pro wide receivers.
Yeah.
They had a very, very good running back who still plays in the National Football League.
And they were good up front.
They had a tight end. Isn't the tight end in the NFL still?
I don't know.
I think there was a third receiver in the NFL. They were so good offensively that all they asked that defense to do was, hey, get a stop here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a point. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
But to that point, like, yes, you can do it if your offense is going to be all-time elite. And I think Ole Miss's offense is going to be really good, but I don't think it's going to be all-time elite.
Sure.
I mean, yes, if Jackson Dart goes and has a Joe Burrow season, well, hey, yeah, right. That changes the game.
Yeah.
And people will go, well, Burrow wasn't as good as a junior as he was as a senior.
Sure.
You're right. But here's my point, right? If you're going to be doing the predicting the season thing, and part of your, all right, well, these are my bona fides. These are the things that I need you to take these things as just fact moving forward for this thought exercise. If the first one is Jackson Dart's going to be the best player in the country and win the Heisman Trophy, okay, well, that's a totally different story. I'm not assuming that.
Yeah, we're cooking with a totally different set of ingredients all of a sudden.
Right. I'm not going there. I'm not saying that Jackson can't have that kind of year, but I'm not going there.
Yeah.
And then I've got to see a lot before I go, yes, Trey Harris and Juice Wells are going to be Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
And they have to stay healthy. They haven't.
But, I mean, I got to see a lot before I go, that's Jamar Chase.
There's a certain level of high praise that is.
I mean, Jamar Chase is kind of good.
Yeah.
And I got to see something before you tell me someone in that backfield is Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That's what it is, yeah.
I hadn't seen that yet. Bentley's got to stay healthy. And then after that, someone's got to produce. And I'm not saying somebody won't produce, but I'm saying now you're starting to make some assumptions. So I think for Ole Miss to be great, they've got to be great up front on defense. And they have the ingredients to be great. But, you know, it's not a perfect roster. I don't know that there is a perfect roster in college football today. I thought Kiffin's answer to my question back in the spring was really good.
About what?
Well, I asked him. He was his most talented roster he's had at Ole Miss. And I said, how does it stack up with the ones at USC and the ones at Alabama that you were part of that won the national title?
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is a guy that kind of knows what he's looking for. He was at USC when they won 30-something games in a row. He was at Alabama when they were winning titles. Saban was dominant. He's been part of elite rosters. How did this one compare? And he goes, well, top end, it's pretty similar. Depth-wise, it's totally different. And he said, I don't know that you can ever do that again. With the portal, guys leave. Guys aren't going to stick around for 3 years to wait their turn anymore when you could transfer to any number of programs and start the first minute you walk onto a new campus. Totally different formula now. In the old days, you could transfer out of USC or Alabama, but you had to sit a year. And so you didn't transfer. You stuck with it. And
yeah, sure.
Now you can hardly blame somebody if a kid's at Alabama and he's sitting and Oklahoma goes, hey, we'll give you $500,000 and you'll be our starting linebacker. Okay.
Well, because like Ben says, we're specialists if you want to cheat, but frankly, Ole Miss can't suck on special teams. You got to be, I mean, to win 10, 11 games, you got to be pretty decent on special teams.
Yeah, look.
You can't suck.
If you're going to go to Baton Rouge and win, if you're going to go.
Yeah, you can't give up.
If those 5 SEC games that everyone sort of takes for granted, if you're going to go 5-0 in those games, you can't suck
Yeah, sudden change negatively can't be a thing over and over and over again.
Because, again, pick one. South Carolina.
Sure.
They don't have to be better than you for all a year. They got to be better than you for about 2 hours and then hold on for an hour.
They need Caden Davis to be consistent kicking field goals. He's got a hell of a leg. He can hit it from the parking lot.
Yeah.
Got to be consistent.
Yeah, of course.
They've had some punting issues.
And these things apply to everybody. But, again, we're
not even really seeing returns. We don't even know what they're doing on kickoff stuff and whatever, do we?
Mm-mm.
We haven't seen any kicking.
Mm-mm. All right.
Typically, we only see kicking.
I have not seen.
And we have not seen kicking.
I have not seen a ball kicked. I'm assuming that they're practicing kicking. We have not seen it.
There's a little bit of kicking. I'm thinking. No, they've been inside the whole time. Yeah. No kicking.
I've seen the kickers throw the ball.
Oh.
In warm-ups to each other.
But that's it. Yeah, I have actually seen Dart throw a baseball more than I have seen a kicker kick. Dart was throwing a baseball one day, so I've seen that more than...
Who's the big redheaded backup punter?
Charlie Pollock.
I've seen Davis throw the ball to Pollock, so maybe they're working on a play where Davis throws to Pollock.
We have 2 punters in the game.
Hold on, let me get Coach DeBoer on the... We don't... Who's almost play first? Coach Stoops. Let me get him on the phone and tell him.
Do you know Furman's head coach's name? Any idea?
I don't. Right now,
I don't either.
You guys need to be working on the play where the punter throws to the back. The kicker throws to the backup punter. Yeah, work on that. You're welcome.
Kicker throws to the backup punter.
Go Cats.
The secondary is athletic. They've got a couple guys back. It's a little bit of question mark.
It's thin.
Yeah, it's
corner's thin.
Corner's really thin. Like the loss of Amorian Walker going back to Michigan feels probably haven't talked about that enough. That being a big deal.
Yeah.
Like that was a dude that was really athletic that they thought was going to be the dude.
I think they thought he was going to be a huge part of what they did.
Yeah. And instead, it's almost created some need for interchangeability at corner. Other guys that play a little bit of other stuff. It's still judged off the very little we see, which is very little. No team. I mean, if they lined out there tomorrow, I would assume Turnage and Amos.
Yeah, probably.
I think.
Maybe A.J. Brown.
There's just some losses there. I mean, it was that. The Walton kid was really good last year. Played well. What was his name?
Zamari.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was real good.
Some spots like that where you kind of go, that dude did leave. Go on.
Yeah, I mean.
I think Key Lawrence is going to be good.
Yeah. I think they're really good at safety.
I don't know what to make of the kid from Indiana, Louis Moore.
Beats me.
I haven't heard anything.
No.
Positively or negatively.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
right?
positively or negatively. Just saying. No idea. So, anyway.
We will not see a scrimmage grind.
Yeah, because we didn't see yesterday. I'm assuming we will not see one.
We're not going to see a scrimmage. It's light now.
Just the least amount we've seen at any point any season.
Yeah, it's
a fairly considerable change for Lane because he typically changes his mind as camp goes on.
Yeah,
to some degree.
Well, I get it.
Oh, I completely get it. I'm not blaming him. I'm just noting.
I've tried a couple of times to come up with an argument that I've never once complained about access in my entire life. I'm not going to start. Sometimes I look at it and go, I wonder why it's this way. And people think that's a negative. I think the why is it's just, you said this the one day privately, and I think you're exactly right. So I'll give you the credit. I think he looks at everything through one lens.
Yeah.
Does this help my team win?
That's it.
And if the answer to that is no, well, then get rid of it.
Yeah.
And does media access help my team win? No. Does it potentially hurt my team? Yes. Not because, look, all jokes aside, the fake call that I just made to Mark Stoops, that's literally, if Mark Stoops called me today and I had my AirPods on and my 15 minutes of practice this morning and he goes, tell me everything you see.
you could help him in no way.
I couldn't help Mark Stoops at all. At the end of that conversation, he would go up to a tall building and jump off because he would question the sanity of humanity.
Yeah.
I'd be like, there's a guy over here. He's running around. I wouldn't be able to help him. In the same way that if I said, hey, Mark, do 10 weekend thoughts on Sunday,
he'd have a difficult time.
I'd be much better at 10 weekend thoughts than Mark would be.
Yeah.
But the point is that I think Lane looks at it and goes, they're going to write about who does stuff. It's going to lead to phone calls. It's going to lead to hurt feelings. It's going to lead to distraction. I don't need it. Let's avoid it.
Yeah, he's very myopic in that way, in a positive way.
And I get it. And so when people go,
I think he gives enough coverage to not be one of the worst teams in the league from a coverage standpoint. I think it does somewhat matter to him to kind of be in the middle and don't make it where he's whatever. In the past, he has at least.
I don't think he wants people to start writing, hey, it's completely locked down for the first time, because it hasn't ever been completely locked down. So if you suddenly completely lock it down,
well, because there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors to right now. We get coverage, but we get access, but it's them doing less than they've ever done during those periods.
Yeah,
because it's not even 1, 2, 3; it's 3, 4, 5. It's after practice has been going for a minute, and then it's some endo. And then peace
out,
gone.
Boys.
Yeah,
disappear,
fly away like the doves.
yes.
So that's how we go. All right, more in a minute. First, tell you about the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation. They want to thank you for the 2023-2024 athletics season. They say none of this is possible without you, the fans. Fall sports are right around the corner, coming up soon. I saw soccer was playing Jackson State in an exhibition or friendly or something this weekend. I drove by the soccer stadium. Can't wait to see you back on campus soon. 2024 men's and women's basketball season tickets and donation renewal deadline is coming up on August 31st. If you want to get priority points up before seat or parking selections, call the foundation 662-915-7159, or for more information, give2athletics.com.
Arnett's Fine Jewelry is a fourth-generation jeweler located in the old Lamons Jewelry Building on North Lamar Avenue in Oxford. They offer expert jewelry repair, diamond engagement rings, wedding bands, stackable diamonds, genuine stone bands, pearls, genuine color stones, diamond jewelry, and more. Also offer super gifts for many occasions such as birthdays, graduation, anniversary gifts. They've got flexible bangles, diamond pendants, earrings. Guys, if your wife is expecting a baby, Arnett's can help you find that perfect push present. They can also help you find an awesome gift for Christmas. At Arnett's, they want to be your jeweler. The College Corner is the place to go if you're getting all your gear ready for the coming season. They've got 2 locations in the Jackson area. They've got a location in Oxford right off of Sisk Avenue in the Oxford Commons. Don't forget, if you leave a tip, the tip goes to the Grove Collective, and it gets you registered for a Grove Collective Jackson Dart signed football. You can also check them out at collegecornerstore.com. We're brought to you by Argent Wealth, formerly Pinnacle Wealth. Argent Wealth is based in Ridgeland, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. Argent provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. At Argent, investing is treated like a commodity, and decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Argent will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan built just for you. It's myargentwealth.com. And we're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Listen, if you're planning a trip, especially if you're planning a trip overseas, now's the time that you really need a good travel agent. There's places that are safe to travel to. There's places that are not as safe to travel to. John has all of that information. He can stop you from having to do a lot of research on your own. Just give him some options, give him some parameters, give him a budget. He's going to give you some different plan details that you'll have a hard time finding on your own. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync. For your prescriptions the same day each month, take care of you. Also easy to transfer your medications. You make one phone call, they take care of the rest. So whether that's Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs or G&M in Oxford, that's 662-236-2222. Thought this was interesting. Again, go read the story. I'm not going to give it all the way here, but Jackson Dart, that is up at rebelgrove.com, looking at some of his passing numbers for last year, and his deep ball was essentially the same as 2022. Did well, good. It's not. He gets a bit of a bad rap. I see a lot of message board posts talking about a really bad deep ball, but he doesn't have a bad deep ball. He has a slightly above average deep ball when you look at the statistics that go on around that. But his improvement, and this could be related to wide receivers in some ways because Trey Harris really dominates this category. His improvement on intermediate throws, so balls that are in the air from 10 to 19 yards, essentially down the field, it has been nothing short of dominant. In 2022, obviously his first year in the system, he completed 51% of those passes. Again, 10 to 19 air yards, not total yards, the ball going in the air for that distance. 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in 2022. Said that 8 throws per Pro Football Focus were turnover worthy in that area. Basically, he had a 73.5% passer rating, which was his worst of any of the different segments as far as how far you can throw the field. And about 26% of his passes were in this area. Last season, it went from 26 to 28, so slight uptick in percentage of passes in that area. He completed them at 66% for 12 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions, an NFL passing rating of 139.9 at that level. Got much better. Only one of the 104 attempts in that area were turnover worthy. One over the course of the thing. He was really, really, really good.
I go back to a conversation I had with him a year ago when I was talking about how are things different. And it's the part where I know I'm criticizing media a lot. I think we all do this a lot. We forget how young people are, and quarterbacks make progressions, right? We never do this with a rookie quarterback. A rookie quarterback makes mistakes, and we all go, well, he's a rookie. Jackson Dart, his first season at Ole Miss, had transferred from a school where he was very happy to a school that he knew nothing about. He moved from Southern California to Mississippi. It was a lot of culture shock. New system, new coach, new teammates, new everything. He was 19. He was 19.
A lot going on.
A lot going on. I don't know how you guys remember being 19. That's a lot of responsibility on a 19-year-old. And he handled it pretty well, but he made some mistakes. He had some turnovers. He forced some things. But he told me that one of the things looking back on that season was that there was a lot of gray area. Whereas he was making a decision in his mind, he was like, I think this is right. Well, there's a big difference between I think this is right and I know this is right. Last year, I think by the end of the season, as he was making decisions, he knew it was the right decision. There was a comfort level. There was a maturity. You learned from experience. The game moves slower as you start to master it. And I think that's what's happened. I think it's the reason why, not to make a Joe Burrow comparison, but it's the reason why if you told me that something really special happened, I would buy Dart having that kind of year because he's got a ton of experience in this system with those same voices, Kiffin, Weiss, and he's showed real signs last season of becoming very comfortable, of becoming proficient, of becoming able to see things quickly, not necessarily needing Kiffin or Weiss to see it for him. I think in that first season, there were times when he needed them to see it for him. He's 19. Now he's almost 21 years old. It's a totally different deal in maturity, in everything.
His number of reps is so much higher that he's seen everything at this point.
Practice reps, game reps, mental reps. Yes, of course. He's much more equipped. I mean, I'm watching the Bear, right? I mean, I'm going to guess that a chef is better the more reps that a chef has making a dish. The more times you make the dish, the more times you perfect the dish.
And he's gotten so much more comfortable in the middle of the field. He's not reading it wrong where they're getting picked off with guys floating back into coverage. Because, the first year,
that's where you have to read.
That got him.
Yeah, that's
The middle was killing him 2 years ago.
well. I mean, defensive coordinators are good in this league.
So
You know what I
balls,
mean? They're pretty good at tricking you.
the middle of the field in this intermediate space, which is what we're talking about. In between the hashes, 71% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. The year before that, 48% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Yeah.
He was bad.
Well, you have to make reads.
And then he was really good.
He got better.
And now Trey Harris really helps. He had a 98 Pro Football Focus score in that area of the field last season. He got about 28% of darts throws in that area.
Yeah.
But he took those for 11 catches for 229 yards and 4 touchdowns in that area.
Yeah. Again, I go
His
back.
size is very dominant in the middle
It
where
helped.
he body control.
Helped that he had pre-scoring.
Yeah.
But I think most
And
of
he
it.
didn't have a healthy pre-scoring for a lot of it.
But I think most of it was it went from gray area to black and white.
Mm-hmm.
That's no, we're not going there. Yes, we're going there. As opposed to I think this is where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you let the ball go and you realize that's not where it went. I didn't see that safety. I didn't see this. And again, the other teams, you don't become an SEC defensive coordinator without being pretty good. I'm sure there's some exceptions to that, but as a rule, they're pretty good at tricking quarterbacks, at making quarterbacks think they see something that they don't see. They're all paid pretty handsomely. And they spend a lot of time watching film and breaking Kentucky, all jokes aside, has already spent a great amount of time this offseason preparing for Jackson Dart. You can bet on it.
100%.
So, the fact that he's more prepared this time around, I think that'll be evident. Because the last time he played Kentucky in Oxford was 2022, and he struggled.
It was a weird game.
It was a hard game. Kentucky's a good program.
Came down to throw, basically. Levis got hit on the last play, right?
Well, Kentucky scored a game winner, but they were.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
That's right.
Oh, dude, we can do margin of error till we're blue in the face.
Yeah.
It's there.
One thing that's kind of interesting about the schedule is you get a good look at Carolina and LSU because they play each other a couple weeks before Ole Miss plays both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, LSU's going to win the game, but I'm interested in that game.
I would assume. Yeah. We'll see.
It's in Baton Rouge, though, right?
No, it's in Columbia.
Is it in Columbia?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, they get SC week 1.
Yeah.
I think SC is kind of meh.
I have no idea.
Miller Moss is the quarterback. I know that.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
It's not Caleb Williams.
It's a downgrade.
In all likelihood, Caleb Williams looked really good in his preseason debut.
I saw that. Did he? Well, I didn't watch it. But
Made some plays.
did you watch it?
I did not. I've heard from people who did watch it.
So they're not panicking anymore?
I think Chicago got pretty excited.
You said they were panicking a couple days ago. Not panicking anymore?
They do not appear to be panicking. They panicked because he didn't play in the first one, and they read into it that meant he wasn't ready. And it's like, yeah, the season doesn't start for another. But
So what's his game? Is he getting the ball?
appears to be. Yeah.
Huh. Saw people in Indy were high on Anthony Richardson last night. His return.
When he's healthy, he's very good. They have to quit running him.
Talent is never the problem with him.
With him, it's decision making, but not like on reads and stuff. It's I'm going to be a hero, and it's like, nah, dude,
Just take the L.
this league's not that. That's not this league.
Yeah.
You don't challenge linebackers in the NFL.
No.
Not smart. They're NFL linebackers for a reason.
Physics and whatnot say that's not a
Just probably not a great idea. Risk benefit reward.
Yeah.
Not the equation does not stack up for the reward.
Yeah.
There's a place for that, but it's not the first quarter of a week 1 game.
Are your Kobe's panicking? You still don't care.
They're a game under 500. They're kind
I
of
saw the White Sox fired their manager.
Yeah, they fired him before the Cubs series. Yeah. I don't know.
Did they sweep the Cubs sweep?
They swept.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Just I just can't get into it. I don't know why.
It's the first time it's been real the whole time.
I've tried.
It's the first time that it hasn't just stopped or come back.
I mean, I actually tried on Friday night for a little bit. They were up 7-0, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I looked up and they were only up 7-6.
Oh.
And I was just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But really what crossed my mind was, I don't care.
Okay.
I don't know what's happened there.
Okay. Quickly, podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPARC, service people across rural communities, 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze. That is their 1 gig, the fastest option they have. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, a wireless mesh extender for anyone needing the extra help, and more. Again, that's nespark.com or 662-238-3159.
Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com. I'll have a mailbag to you on Wednesday that's brought to you by Art Hayes, Sotheby's International Realty. Are you thinking of making a move? Put the power of Sotheby's to work for you as a licensed agent with Sotheby's International Realty and a supporter of all things Ole Miss. Art can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world, no charge to you. Seriously. So call and ask Art how. 612-805-5929 or email art at Arthur, ARTHUR.Hayes, HAYS at lakesmn.com.
Ole Miss announced its M Club Hall of Fame on Friday. Just kind of a viewing or listening note, if you will. For again this year, we'll have those inductees on the podcast as the event gets closer. The event in November, prior to the Georgia game, the Thursday night prior to Georgia, but. The list for 2024, Chris Spencer, obviously football, during the Eli Manning era at Ole Miss. Todd Wade, longtime NFL player, Rebel as well, offensive lineman. Rick Ziplich is the baseball inductee for the year. Roger Steig, men's basketball, around the 80s. And then Chrissy Strini for any soccer fans for Ole Miss, one of the top soccer players in the program's history. And then Jonathan Randolph for men's golf. Neal played a round of golf with Mr. Randolph years ago for charity. He helped out on a few shots here or there. Jonathan, good friend of mine, had his PGA Tour card multiple times and was obviously an All-American at Ole Miss. So that is
Brewers
your 2024 fan. Big Brewers fan.
Brewers are good.
Yeah, he's probably very happy with.
He's having a good baseball season
with the crew.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we set it up where Neal had to play everything all the way out, but Jonathan got to hit 2 tee shots for him over the course of the day, and he could pick whatever hole he wanted for those. We put them both on par 3s because the thought process was to get Neal as close to the hole as humanly possible after Jonathan's shot, and then putt out from there. And I think that paid off. I think that was I think that was the appropriate move.
He was able to hit the ball further and straighter than I was able to hit the ball.
November 7th at the Inn is the ceremony. Tickets going on sale August 14th for this, and again, we will have the podcast guests leading up to that.
You're emceeing again?
I am emceeing again. Yes, I think so. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so I guess I can say yes, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying that.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 weeks before the marathon. We'll be tapering then. So
yeah, that will not impact your preparation.
Not even a little bit. No. Let's see.
What's your longest run so far? What's your?
Just 7 because I got 9 on Friday, and then we start moving up because it does this Higdon program that you've told me to shut up and just follow.
Mm-hmm.
Is 6. You increase every 2 weeks, and the third week it steps back, and then you go up. So it was only 5 on Friday because you had to step back, and then it goes to 9, and then either 10 or 11 the next week.
It's trying to prevent injuries,
which already dealing with one, so that's
so it's.
I'm having to. Nobody cares. I get.
I'm interested,
but you are. That's true. I think mentally that is my biggest hurdle so far. Is not even the number of miles or the distance or like trying to mentally get to the fact that you're running for 4 hours. It's in a training run essentially. Is that I'm already kind of hurt, and I've basically been told I'm not going to be healthy the rest of the time. So it's knowing that I'm going to have some level of pain every day the rest of this process is probably the hardest part. But I can't make it worse, they tell me. I'm not going to tear anything. It's just going to hurt. So
I did one like that. It was kind of miserable. But when you finish, you're pretty proud of yourself because you.
I think, I mean,
I was pumped up on the steroids and stuff to the point where I think I messed up my body.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was hurting.
Yeah, like I saw Carl Lafferty in the grocery store yesterday. We were just kind of talking for a minute, and I was telling him about it, and he was basically calling me a moron for even trying it, which is fine.
I mean, when
And,
you think about it, and I've done it,
yeah.
when you think about it, it is really stupid. I mean, so you're just going to go run 26.2 miles. Yes. Why? I don't know.
Just because.
What are you getting for it? A medal?
But because he made that point, he goes, but when you get done, he's like, you're probably getting emotional. He's like, it's a big deal or whatever. And I was like, yes, but, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. And a lot of people on the board, I'm sure a lot of people in the stream have run one. I mean, a lot, but I don't know what the percentage of the population is that's run a marathon. But I think it's because of the work that it takes for the months as much as that day.
No
It's
doubt.
about that you actually dedicated that amount of time and
Yes.
necessity to something
Yes.
and followed through with it. I don't think
Yes.
it's necessarily even about that morning.
No.
Like, you want to finish, obviously.
It's not
but
an athletic achievement. It's a mental achievement.
It is, yes.
It's not an athletic achievement.
It's a dedication and a mental achievement.
Yes. It's a mental achievement. Because when you go do the 20-mile training run, it just sucks.
Yeah, mentally, that's...
I mean, I got on a treadmill and ran for 3 hours watching an NFL game. And you're just the idiot running on a treadmill for 3 hours. And you know people are in there going, what the hell? Are you stupid? And the answer is yes. I'm an idiot. Thank God that the Giants and Cowboys are playing a close game.
Uh-huh.
But I'm just running.
Because I was already in my head going, I better find some podcasts that I really, really like and just save them for some of those longer runs. Like, don't listen to them now. Put them away. Keep them.
But like, if you're anything like me, you could stop time at 2 hours into a run, and I could say, what are they talking about right now? And you'd have no
It's just background.
earthly idea.
It's just background. It's just something to. But it can't be music. I can't do it.
Yeah.
We're completely different. I get it. But
oh yeah, sure. Everybody's different. I mean, you could stop me 2 hours into a run and go, what song are you
and you
listening?
wouldn't know.
I have no clue. I couldn't tell you genre right now. I'm off in my own. It's why one of the reasons I didn't like doing long runs outside is because 16 miles into a run, you're just not super aware of what's around you. You're off in a different world. You're kind of thinking about other things, and there's a dog, there's a car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get startled back into the present when there's something loud or something near you.
Yeah, to the point
You're
where
gonna go, whoa.
To the point where like your heart beat. So and then the other part, like if you want to run a particular speed, the only way you're ever going to do that is by practicing running that speed. If you want to run fast, you practice running fast.
And the
so
other key is on your slow runs, run slow. Don't overrun those.
Yeah.
That's the other part that.
And so I would do a lot of treadmill stuff because if it's like, hey, I want you to
pace.
run this slower, okay, then I'll set my treadmill for slower.
Yeah.
And if I want to go faster, I'll set my treadmill for faster.
So number one advice for anybody that just wants to get into running and is a very, very beginner is run by time, not by pace or by distance.
Right.
Because you start running faster to be done, or you start doing all this instead of going, no, I'm just going for an hour. So who really gives a damn how fast I'm going?
Sure.
I'm just going for an hour.
Sure.
Or 30 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it is. And I think that's
what I did on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to run 60 minutes.
Yeah. Whatever that is, it is.
Not 59, not 61, 60.
Mm-hmm. Which is typically what I've always done, just sort of baseline stuff.
I never looked at my mileage the entire time.
Did you not?
I never checked my pace, nothing. I was really disciplined about it. I'm like, I'm going to do this program because it's going to tell me when 60 minutes is up. But I'm not going to one time look and see how I'm doing because then I'm going to try to speed up. Nope.
I'm a mental nut job. So my normal watch, just like for the majority of the race, and I know people, whatever, we're deep into it at this point. Like my normal one, tells me at all times the time, the distance, the pace, and my heart rate. That's what I have, the 4 things up there all the time.
Yep.
But when I'm 1 mile to go, I turn it to one that just has the distance and nothing else. Something about seeing the finishing time getting close or my pace or anything else on that last mile screws with my head.
That will not happen to you.
It bothers me.
That will not happen to you on race day.
Well, okay.
The last mile will feel like the easiest mile.
Almost fun. Yeah.
It will be the easiest mile. Unless you're like
I'm hurting.
Yeah, unless you're hurt.
Because I think it was Mark Etheridge of D1 baseball. He when he ran, and to his credit, he overcame this in his run multiple since then. But he ran New York for his first one and knew he was hurting. And I want to say, Mark can correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say when he was on like mile 20 or 21, what ended up happening is he actually had torn both hip labrums and ran like the last 5 miles with labrum tears. He just thought he was in pain and it was the marathon and it was at the end. But I think he actually had some sort of tear or issue.
Well, that's what I did in California. I hurt something in my hip. And because I finished and they had these massage tables.
Yeah.
And I told the lady, I'm like, I can't move. I can't move I can't like sit down. I'm so stiff that I can't walk anymore. And she was like, let me work on it. And she's knees and stuff like into my lower back and my glutes. And she looked at me finally and was like, I can't help you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's like, you need to go find like a hot tub and just lay in it for a while and maybe things will get loose.
Yeah. So
that was, and then 7 weeks later, I ran in Minnesota with David, which was really stupid.
Yeah. Oh, 7 weeks later?
7 weeks later.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I didn't remember those being that tight together. So I don't know. We'll probably end up doing a freaking show on this at some point before I actually do it, and you'll get snippets. But that's where we are now. We what?
I'm laughing at Ginger. She said, "You're signing up to be miserable."
It's not wrong.
This is stupid.
I mean, it's not incorrect.
No, I mean don't ever push back on someone that goes it's stupid because it is absolutely stupid.
It's 14 weeks and 6 days away.
There is a mental accomplishment that kicks in.
Yeah.
In the last.
It's my version of a midlife crisis. I'm 40 years old. It's just what we're doing. I don't know. It's
the last 2 or 3 miles. You'll start to tell yourself, "Wow,
yeah,
I can't believe I actually did this." I'm going to forewarn you. Around mile 18, you're going to go, "Why?"
Questioning everything about your entire being.
Why did I do this? Because you've run 3 hours, and you still haven't gotten 20 miles, and you're like, "I got 7 more miles to run."
Yeah.
And then hopefully what happened to me in the first Chicago run doesn't happen to you, where the guy I've told you this before, there's a guy in front of me, red hat.
You stayed with a red hat.
And I was like, dude was like really fit. And he's like 20 yards in front of me. And I noticed that he looks like he's really running well. And I'm right with him. I'm not gaining on him, but I'm not losing him. He's right there. And so I start going, hey, I'm just going to follow red hat for a while. Because he's cruising. And so this is like around mile 20, 21. Dude's moving. I'm like, hey, I got this. It was the first time that I'm like, I'm good. Because I'm running with red hat, and he's not picking up a yard on me. And I'm like, we're cruising, man. I feel good. Weather was perfect. I'm starting to kind of have that euphoria kick in. And all of a sudden, dude goes, and I went, oh, shit. Oh, God. Oh, we're in trouble. My whole entire outlook went negative. Probably the way you guys would feel if, like, your starting quarterback goes down. Everything just, boom. I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble now. And I spent the next two miles going, something's going to fall apart. Because dude just went.
Hit it.
He bonked. Just went down. I passed him going, oh, shit. Pardon my language. Still would love to know, like, what happened to Red Hat. I guess he cramped.
Yeah, probably cramped.
But he went from, like, perfect to on the ground.
I mean, all jokes aside, most people who actually have issues, if you've done the training correctly, it's because you did not hydrate or you did not get your fluids and your salt correctly.
Yeah.
That's why you do it.
Yeah.
If that stuff's correct and you follow the typical plan, you've done 20. You're mostly okay. Just
Yeah.
it's
I looked down at that time and had the sand on my arm,
and it was salt.
and I thought, that's weird. I don't remember like seeing sand at Lake Michigan.
Straight
and it was
salt.
salt. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So, one bit of football news. Another freaking injury. Reuben Owens, Texas A&M running back,
Oh,
out for the season.
that sucks.
With a significant lower body injury. I mean,
sucks.
legs, knees, whatever it ends up being. He was a number
Sucks.
44 overall recruit in the 2023 class. He had 743 yards and 3 touchdowns, getting all SEC freshman honors in 2023.
There was a story, I linked it in 10 Weekend Thoughts. It was Sam Pittman and Hugh Freeze both talking about the decisions about how physical you make camp, and that in those periods where you go physical because you feel like you have to go physical, that it is just for coaches, it's just an absolute effing nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst.
Just get through it.
The worst moments of their entire day is knowing that they're putting their team in danger right now, but that you feel like you have to do it to get to that place. And I'm sure for Lane Kiffin, it's the opposite. He said this last week, right? He said, we're not going super physical, and there are times that the coaches on the staff are super nervous about it because they're so used to being physical. And he wasn't. Yeah. I didn't think he was taking shots. He goes, other people are doing it the other way, and
it is.
But he's kind of committed to his way, and if it's wrong,
it'll be wrong.
It'll be wrong.
A&M does have some workable depth. They've got Amari Daniels back. They've got Le'Veon Moss back, and then they added E.J. Smith, Emmitt Smith's kid, who had 557 yards and 5 touchdowns over 24 games with Stanford. Prior to transferring to A&M.
Okay.
That's where that is sitting there. With the Aggies, after suffering that injury, again, Reuben Owens out for the season for Texas A&M. So, all right, back tomorrow here with you on the podcast. Coverage of Lane Kiffin speaking to the media this afternoon, this late morning, around 11:30, I believe, is when they're anticipating that to be. Some players available. So, coverage at rebelgrove.com, more at MPW Digital, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.